What is your near-death experience story? Story number 1. I slipped trying to get out of the shower and I had a traumatic brain injury which included 2 fractures in my skull, another fracture on the side of my skull above my ear, also had bleeding in the brain, fractured my nose and eye socket which caused bleeding in my eye, and dislocated my jaw. They also told me I had so many tiny fractures in my cheekbone that they couldn't give me a number. Don't remember any of it besides completely losing my vision, profusely vomiting blood, and small bits of being in the ICU.
What the fuck happened to you, man?
Story number 2. This happened to me earlier this year. I was working out at the gym when my heart started beating funny. This had happened to me in the past, but it always corrected itself after 5 to 10 seconds. Well, after about 5 minutes, my heart was still beating oddly. It felt like it was just completely out of rhythm, like it wasn't beating in time. So I leave the gym and start driving home. As I'm driving, I suddenly feel like I can't breathe and start to black out. Fortunately, there's a hospital between the gym and my house, so I pull into the ER. At this point, I think I'm having a panic attack because my heart is racing and I feel like I can't breathe. I've never had a panic attack before, but I used to be an EMT, so I practiced taking slow, deep breaths. That's not helping, so I go into the ER. I had to insist that something was wrong for them to take my vitals. And when they did, my pulse was at 230. They rushed me back. My heart was in a rhythm called SVT, and they had to give me a drug through my IV that temporarily stopped my heart. I thought I was going to die. Fast forward a month, and as it turns out, I was born with a super rare heart condition called Wolff Parkinson's White syndrome. I've since had surgery to hopefully permanently fix it. Story number 3. Nearly fell off the Grand Canyon when I was 16. A sudden gust of wind caught me when I was looking over the edge. A young woman who was my babysitter slash daughter of a family friend growing up grabbed my arm and pulled me back as I was teetering. I don't think anybody else really noticed, and she didn't say anything. All very surreal. Story number 4. A doctor punctured my uterus during an outpatient surgery, and they didn't realize it. I was on my way home in excruciating pain, and thank God I asked my mom to take me to the ER. I was hemorrhaging and had 5 liters of blood in that area. Went into emergency surgery, and the ER doc told my mom she should notify the family. It just wasn't my time to go. Yes, we sued the original doctor. Story number 5. Not quite a near-death experience, no physical harm to me, but it was damn close. A while back, I was really not doing well and decided to just undiagnose myself. I loaded one bullet into an old rifle, chambered it, and sighed in relief as my toe pushed the trigger with the barrel in my mouth. I was confused when I heard a click, but I was still sitting. Spent the next while laughing and crying because I couldn't even do suicide right. Turns out it was a dud round. Story number 6. I got ran over by a car when I was 7. Literally drove over me. Left me with 4 scars, broken ankle, 2 dead teeth, because the doctor didn't fix the infection I got from my gum being cut open somehow. But I came out of the hospital in 5 days and have no long-term issues, other than the teeth. Can't fix death. Story number 7. I drowned when I was a kid. My grandma said I was face down and not moving when she jumped into the water to get me. Her dog thought it was a game, so he was trying to swim over her. That's what the game warden saw, and thought she was being attacked by a dog. My mom said I was blue and purple all over when they pulled me out of the water, but they gave me mouth to mouth anyways, and I started to breathe again. Story number 8. One time I was returning a set of rental car keys. I'd arrived at the place about 10 minutes prior and set up my Uber to home, and waited in the rental car until the Uber was close. When I went up to the drop box, there was a man walking up to it too. Only, I had not seen him drive in with a car. He lifted the lid for me and I said thank you and I dropped my keys in, but he didn't drop anything in. I noticed a car approaching with its turning signal on, so I turn around and start half speed walking and half jogging towards the car. And when I turned around, the man was jogging right behind me. Once I reached the Uber and went inside, I looked and the man had turned around and was walking the other direction. I don't know what might have happened.
running? Why are you running?
Story number 9. Got drunk and fell from the 3rd floor balcony. Come down with my shoulder first. Broke my collarbone and 7th rib on the right, which caused bleeding in my lung. Bruised my legs to the bone and left me with small memory problems, but nothing else. I have no fucking idea how I'm alive and not paralyzed.
And if you don't have the right home insurance...
Story number 10. I was a passenger in my friend's van. Late afternoon summertime. He's driving. We're stopped at a red light at a major suburban intersection. We're in the left lane and a big 18-wheeler is stopped on our right. The light turns green. The truck creeps ahead very slowly. Normally we drive off, but my friend is so busy talking, he's not paying attention and creeps forward too. Suddenly, a car speeds through the red light very fast across our path, like 80 miles per hour, at least 3 seconds after the light turns green. Likely the truck driver saw it approaching, but we couldn't see. The truck blocked the view. Had we driven off normally, the speeding car would have hit my door and I'd be dead. My friend's distracting driving saved us.
Damn, I missed him!
Story number 11. When I was a child, probably 5 or 6 years old, I was invited to a girls' pool party in kindergarten. Some of the kids thought it'd be a brilliant idea to throw me into the deep end of the pool. I didn't know how to swim. I can't recall much of it, but what I can remember is water being sucked into my lungs and sinking to the bottom like a rock. I then woke up on cobblestone pavement, coughing profusely, with my kindergarten teacher, who was invited to the party, holding me and all the other kids and parents surrounding me. Story number 12. When I was a kid, I was scared of flying, so my sweet, sweet grandmother decided to take me on a train trip from LA to Seattle to see some family. In the middle of the night, around the Sacramento area, the train derailed and flipped over, leaving only a handful of cars upright, including ours. We slept through the whole thing, and before flipping the train cars again, the conductor realized after doing a head count for each car that we were still in the train, and they came to our room and woke us up, telling us what happened, dumbfounded that we were all still asleep. I got a free glow stick out of it, at least, and was still more scared of flying for years. Story number 13. Had an asthma attack in the back of the car when I was 5. I was gasping for air, had no idea what was happening, never had an attack before, and beating the back of the seat trying to get my parents' attention. They just looked back and laughed, and looked away because they thought I was playing around. I couldn't say anything or shout, as much as I tried because I couldn't fucking breathe. Passed out and woke up later. Parents never noticed, didn't realize what it was myself until I was older. Story number 14. Me and my cousin were building a little snow cave. We were about 8 or 9 years old. While I was working on the inside, he worked on the top to remove the weight. The whole thing collapsed with me inside it. My arms and legs were stuck, and my cousin had to dig me out. Still freaks me out when I think about it. Story number 15. I got chased by cows in one of those fields when I was around 10. I climbed over the metal fence. No one knew where I was. I wanted to see the horses above the cow field. I didn't realize how tall the hedges were. As I was walking back to the metal fence, I looked to my left and thought, those cows are running my way. Oh crap, they're running towards me. I ran as fast as I could, climbed over the metal fence within 3 seconds, and ran back to my dad and stepmother's friend's house. I looked behind me, and about 20 seconds after I jumped over the fence, and I saw the cows hit it. Fucking traumatizing. Story number 16. My little sister and I went to a small boarding school in the middle of nowhere in a rainforest, my senior year of high school. Mid-year, there was a shortage of aviation gas that didn't appear to be letting up anytime soon, and the school was having difficulty getting in supplies. They made a last-minute, huge decision to move the entire boarding school into a town that was accessible easily by road, before there was no aviation gas to be had altogether. Where's the danger? Where's the drama, you might ask? Well, it just so happens that within 2 weeks of the school shutting down and relocating, a large group of guerrilla mercenaries who had crossed the border from Colombia showed up at the now empty school demanding to know where all the rich kids were. The locals informed them that the school had been relocated and the mercenaries were really pissed to not have a single kid to take hostage for ransom. As my parents would not have had the money to pay a ransom, I consider that a very close call.
Where are they?
Killing is making a choice.
Where are they?
Choose between.
Story number 17. When I was younger, I would go out with my friends and play a game called Manhunt in the woods. For those that don't know, imagine hide and seek in the dark and in a massive area. I was with one of my friends and we came to an open field that was super far from where we started. We decided to take a breather here since we had been running. We started hearing shuffling in the field behind us and saw a grown-ass man with a flashlight charging towards us as fast as he could. We bolted, and as we were running in the pitch black night, I tripped into a pretty shallow ditch. When I looked up, I noticed a metal pole sticking out of the ground by about 5 feet, a few inches to the left of my chest. If I had been a little more to the left, I would have been impaled. We kept running and eventually lost sight of the guy. Still fucks with me sometimes how close I came to biting the dust. Story number 18. Fell off a pier when a storm was rolling in and got smashed against the pilings. The rocks were too high above for me to gain purchase, and the sides were covered in sharp barnacles. I'm a good swimmer, but I was smaller then, and the waves were too strong for me to get any control. I couldn't swim because I was trapped in the small space between the pilings and the rock. When the water around me started to turn red, I thought I would bleed out or get knocked out and drown before I could get up. Someone else pulled me up. Story number 19. Went to Ecuador for an immersive vacation. Went herping, looking for reptiles and amphibians, with a friend. Middle of the rainforest, 5 or 6 hours away from any hospital. Found a cool snake and wrapped it around a stick I was holding. Walked 2 miles back to the camp and dropped the snake in a bin. It tried to strike me, but I closed it in. Took out my identification book from the camp library and found out it was a small bushmaster. One of the most venomous snakes in South America. Nice. Last story. When I was roughly 7 or 8, me and my twin brother used to have a contest to see who could get to the school bus door first, so we'd sprint across the street to race. Well, one time the bus stopped and the stop sign went out, but this 18-wheeler going well over 70 kilometers per hour plowed right through going the opposite way. Obviously, me and my brother didn't see the truck and we started running out. We were just about to get onto the road when all of a sudden my sister somehow managed to grab both of our collars from behind and yank us back right before we would have gotten hit. It was unbelievably close. The truck driver didn't even slow down. Definitely could have died that day.
You cashed in.